do we start to pay more attention to the greatness and become that like a realistic, not everyone's perfect. So how do we start to just practice that? How do we build that muscle as a leader? How do we build the muscle of being someone who brings out the greatness or supports that? And
I think it's honestly a mindset of understanding that there is nothing. There is no perfect business. There is no perfect people. There's no perfect model. And I think that when you become dogmatic and you stop really listening to what someone might be struggling with, and you can't really see beyond it, nobody wants to go home at night and feel like they did a bad job. I don't think there's a single employee who wants to work all day, 8 hours, go home and say, oh my gosh, what the heck, that was the worst day I've had in my whole life. Nobody wants to feel like that. Every single person who gets up in the morning, who gets in their car, train, boat, plane, whatever, to get to work, wants to have a good day that day. And if you always recognize that, and you can give them at least most of that good day, then that seems pretty simple. It really is. They want to go home at night with their head down a pillow and say to their family, I had a great day today, or I had a tough day. Even if I had a tough day can be good.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be bad.
I moved forward or got through a challenge.
I got through this finally, it was amazing, a breakthrough. It's just like a wave, and you just keep moving with it. It just keeps going forward.
How do you do it in terms of, do you guys have team goal setting?
Yeah, we have all that. We have MBOs, I've established all that. We have MBOs, and now they're so good at it, they write their own, they measure their own, turn them all in ahead of time. We have this really incredible, everybody has managers meeting. When I first came to the managers meeting, it was mostly the head of the company talking about just talking. And we sort of changed the format, like I just give one idea of what's happening on the planet, the idea of our business, and we go around this room with a considerable amount of people, and each person talks about what's going on in their department, and every single time, and for 8 years, it's shocking. Even I'm shocked, and I know everything that's going on. They're going around this room, and other departments are gardening departments, housekeeping departments, marketing departments, fashion departments, the chef's department. They're all sharing what's happening in their department, and they walk out of there and they're enlightened. They're completely enlightened. And I know there's a million meetings like this, but I think the difference for us in this meeting has been is I'm the listener. I'm just listening what happens in all the department and watching them share and then have camaraderie across the table.
What are you listening for?
I'm the moderator. I'm not the activist.
Okay.
I'm just the moderator for the meeting.
So you're facilitating.
That's all. I'm not leading it. Technically am, but not.
Yeah. And what are you listening for? So in order for that meeting to stay on track and on purpose,
it's a touch base, and I can hear what's happening in all departments for my own self, but I can watch the dialogue between the departments to make sure that, because I'm always, out, and so I need always to make sure that departments are sharing, because without seamless sharing, we can't take care of you. Think about it, I have to take care of you completely from that. I have to know you from the second you cross my bridge to the second you leave our bridge. So I have 7 days to know everything about you to make you feel great. Health, fitness, mindfulness, where you are, anywhere emotionally. There's so many pieces of you I have to learn from right now from scratch and have it done by Wednesday, Thursday, so you can change by the rest of the week. And part of that comes from everybody sharing everything that's going on with the company that's being given to the guest.
I love it. Can you share, again, transformation is something that I think maybe some people have experienced for themselves, but can you share a little bit about maybe an example of what you see or what happens
Gosh, I see people being at Golden Door.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, when I've seen you die. I have seen people when they cross that bridge with their shoulders up at their ears. You will learn over time, if you think about your shoulders generally live up here to the back, and you'll learn that your shoulders, and I can see them come across that gate, and they're stressed, and they're worried, or concerned, or afraid, or something's going on. They just need a break, or not just a spa. It's a whole different thing at Golden Door. By the time they walk into that front door, they don't have to do anything. They just have to tell me what you're coming. You don't have to tell me what you want to do. Maybe you want to do tennis or not. But I will plan everything for you. You have to not even pick you up at your house so that you're settled in a car and you're my responsibility until you leave me again. And there's something very powerful about it, honestly. When they come back
that
out
level
there,
of attention and care.
oh my gosh, when they leave, we're talking leaders of the world.
I was going to say
the
this.
best thing to have leaders be calm for a second and be nice and be smoothed out and ready for their family and their workers when they get back, they're ready. It's amazing. It's really, by the time the Sunday comes and they're walking back the door, they're glowing and they're happy and they're thoughtful and they're ready. We have some gentlemen who've been there, we have men's weeks, who've been there over 120 times. That's amazing. We don't even have that many.
So I think that's also just an important note to make. When people are coming in and you're seeing the stress in there, these are titans. Like these are These
Those
are
are major players.
major players, and so two things. First of all, everyone has stress and has where there isn't a league or a group of people who are above that. This is a human a human condition. So I think that's important for all of us to know, whatever level of leadership or business you're at, that your problem's real. That's real. But in just 7 days, 5 days. Yeah.
And stress, everybody has stress. It doesn't matter if you have work stress, personal stress, everybody carries some amount of worry and anticipation and concern with them at all times. As a matter of fact, it becomes almost debilitating that you can't live the rest of your body. And debilitating stress, we know, affects you. It affects your cellular health, it affects your metabolism, it affects everything. So we can reduce stress in executives, there will be better executives. We can reduce housewives, doesn't matter who, they'll be better parents. And it's very important today. There's a lot of noise out there.
In the noisy, hectic world, it doesn't feel like most of us get a chance to reset.
No.
And as you said, like
safely.
Yeah. And so completely, and so health. So I love that as just as a service and as a process. And I think it's just important for everyone to realize that taking the time, figuring out how to do that. Now, if they can't go, what would be a couple practices or things that you've seen that anyone from anywhere could at least do on a daily basis to give themselves a little bit of a reprieve?
Meditation.
Okay. So,
as crazy as it sounds,
yeah.
You can meditate in your car. It doesn't mean you go to sleep. I'm not suggesting you do that if you can't drive and meditate. But meditation is not sitting in some room with your hands in lotus pose.
Yeah.
You have to be in a completely silent room. You can meditate right here in this room. It's a time to pause and stop, let your mind calm down, so you can think a little bit clearer.
Do you have a process just in terms of just what is a light way that, again, while driving at a stoplight or in the morning?
You just let your mind free. Don't focus on any one thing. Just look at the trees and the grass and just kind of zone it out. Don't listen to the radio.
And it can be as short as a minute, or it can be as
short as a minute. It's a matter of just turning off your brain as much as you can to a lot of noise. Sitting in your backyard, cooking dinner. You can meditate while you're cooking dinner.
Yeah. More and more.
People think you have to do it something really specifically, like sitting in a corner in a dark room. That's not really what it's about. Obviously, that's really great.
It can also.
But if you're busy, don't not do it because you can't find time to sit in the corner. It's important.
We hear this so consistently, the idea of meditation. I think, thankfully, it's becoming much more mainstream, much more available for people.
You know why? There is really a reason why. Our why today, you think about it. 100 years ago, the sun went down and you went to bed.
Yeah.
The sun went up, you got up. Your life was in a community, in a small neighborhood. You knew everybody. You married whoever was next door. That was your entire life. Today, our lives and our families are fractured all over the world. Our travel times to get to work are hard. The marketing and the ability to run companies today is much harder than it might have been then because there's so much complexities, just legal complexities. And you have to think of all of these strains, all of us today, there's phones every single second in our ears blinking at us at all times, driving most of our consciousness is your phones. It doesn't go long that you haven't looked at it.
Yeah.
All of that is stress. So we try to teach people, we even have this little thing in the room to teach people, we have a little cell phone case to put your cell phone in the case and put it to bed at night.
Yeah.
To try to separate yourself from all the mechanical noise so you can get back into your soulful noise.
I think that's beautiful, and I hope everyone listening figures out just a simple way to try and start to practice giving your mind a break in whatever way you can.
Makes you a better person, it makes you a better leader, it makes you a better worker.
Yeah.
All of us, it makes us better.
We all know that experience, but I think very easy to forget and just be like, well, I got 5 fires and 3 things. Another thing that I feel you guys are such a good example of, but I want to know, so choosing a mission that you believe in and that you, so ending, and I love that how it's written, so we're ending child abuse. Was that a group decision? Was that something that, how was the cause?
Well, it really, the greatest story is about now. It was Christmas time in 2013, and there was an article written by Logan Jenkins, a wonderful writer at the UT Times down in San Diego, about shame on us. A child abuse center was closing, been lost all its money and had no future. And it was an important one. And I started talking to the owner, and I had been talking about what would be our cause. And I think it had to be something that had to be transformational, like what we do, really transformational. So we went to this abuse center, we saved it. I mean, we literally wrote checks, we got matching funding from a lot of people. It was significant enough to keep them they're still in business today. And we said, this is our mission. If I can transform people's lives that are executives and certainly are, imagine what Golden Door, first we have the voice. So many people don't believe it. We have this sort of voice to talk about child abuse in this way. And there are so many incredible people out there that I've met. We had a child abuse summit we underwrote in May of 2018. It is incredible how many passionate people are out there trying to make this stop in America. I think you're hearing more than ever before too.
What I love about hearing about it is that the intention is to end it. Like
Yes, it's the intention.
The
I
intention
don't
is,
think we'll be able to actually end it, honestly. But if we can make people aware of what's really there, I think that would help. That it's not just the people you don't know, it's also the people that you do know.
well, it's such a rampant problem and a horrific one, but also what it brings me back to is it's something also that I think we can all, whether you have children,
Right.
we've all been in, the idea of it is something. So did the idea that this will relate to everyone?
Well, I think it was more the idea that if this one center could be closed, where would the children go? They can't go to a police station and talk about their parents or their brothers. That's never going to happen, ever. And so it became so clear to us that we had to have a bigger part in this role. And it just became obvious that if we're going to change people's lives, this is what we could do. And we could do it. We could make a difference. Even if we're not the biggest company on the planet, we'll still be able to make a difference.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful. And I hope, again, if you're a leader, if you're running an organization, finding a cause that you believe in and doing something.
So important.
Because we can make a difference. And it doesn't have to be the largest company in the world. It doesn't have to be solving the entire problem, but helping one child.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah, we've done that.
Yeah. So that, I think that is so beautiful, and it is, I think, also something that when I'm curious if your experience with your employees, they've been being of service all day long, and then they're tired or whatever, but they find that extra. Can you tell they find that extra because
I think they're quite proud of Golden Door. I'm quite proud of it. Our average length of service there is, I don't know, maybe about 40 years, 50 years, 30 years is pretty common. Pretty much when they cross the border, they like to stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're at the number one, yeah, there's no reason to go if you can stay. I want to ask just about qualities. I've heard a few of them. Are there any other, so listening, setting a mission, having the right people, but are there other qualities that as a leader that you either look for or practice?
I always tell me, our number one job in companies like this, I'm the steward of a company. My job is to steward the company to its best performance for its guests and its employees and the owners. So it's a three-pronged scenario. So as long as you as a steward are guiding it that way, and part of a steward's role is checks and balances. There's all the money and the finances and the cash flows and profit and losses and all those other things you don't think about. But I think the number one job of any great leader today is to be able to build a very strong team under you. It can't just be you, and to be able to steward them every single day to get where you want to go. It just seems pretty fun to me.
Well, not only fun, but you had mentioned in that definition of success, this idea of helping people and nurturing them to grow.
Yeah.
Like watching that.
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I love giving raises. I love promoting people. When I started, there's very few times that people got promoted inside because it's a very unique company from department to department. Since I've been there, we promote all the time cross-laterally across departments. It's really important to share experiences across the area. And I think that's something they start to see, people getting promoted and people growing in companies that they don't think there is growth. If employees see that you can grow, they'll do even more amazing things.